In our last video, we finished writing this MACD method here in our TA-lib helper. We also have it hooked up here in our data instrument class for MACD. And we have created this update data points, passing in single data points for the chart. So we're going to have to do some charting this time around. But let's look at this. So if we come back to our main program, the same. Sorry, I'm going to have to show you the disclaimer, and then I'm going to run this program. Okay, let's run this program. I think today happens to be a Sunday. I think the markets are open. And the markets are not open. So I will have to come back to this video. Here's what it looks like. We got a whole lot of nothing. Well, I was going to run this program. However, I realized that the markets are not open yet. This happens to be a Sunday afternoon. I believe they open in another 40 minutes or so. So let's work on our chart program. We're not going to be able to test it until the market's open, which I'll wait for the end of this video to show you that. But for now, let's go ahead and let's comment out our EMA and let's work with our MACD. So now we're going to pass update points a list of multi-data point. Turn that back to 6 just so that I don't forget. So how do we graph a multi-data point? Well, let's go create the method. So here's what we had before. Before we had a linked list of single data points, and we set the one position in our time series to have that that was going to be where we placed our points. However, we are going to have to do something different. And it looks like my overloading this method is not working because a linked list and a linked list are the same type. And so I'm going to have to think a little bit here. Let's look over here. Update. Can make two different methods out of this, which is what I might have to end up doing. So update. Let's just do this. Single data points. Single data points. That's going to take in our EMA 20. Let's refactor it this way, at least to start with. And then once this is working, we'll add in the other method. Whoops. I might need to put new batteries in my mouse. This mouse is jumping all over the screen. I'll be right back. All right, my mouse now is not jumping all over the screen anymore. That's much better. So here we just refactored this method, called it update single data points. We'll move this method right up here below it, and we'll say update multi-data points. I know this is not a good option, but for now, this is what we're going to have to do. So this generate data set. You know what I think we can do is I think we might be able to use the same method for both if we say that this takes in a data point. We'll say update data points. And here, this is going to be a data point. think this is what we want to do. We'll do this. For data point in, so nope. So the idea is that we have to create a series for every line that we want to put on the graph. We're going to have a series for it. So we have to know how many data points are coming in, especially in a multi-data point case. But let's look at this. So we say if, trying to think of a good way to do this. So we have an array of 3 points, or we have a, first off, we're going to need to know what type of point we're dealing with. Let's see, if points dot size is greater than 0, then we know we have a point. That's good. We can say if points dot get, I don't like this, instance of. If that's the case, we'll do something. Otherwise, if nope, not in bar. Oh, I don't like this either. It's usually not a good practice to check for the type of classes that are coming in. It's not the object-oriented way of doing this. Okay, so now that I've thought about it for a while, I have a different idea. And so I think this will work. I don't really like it. We might have to come back to this later on, but let's look at our, oh, my mouse is still going crazy. We are going to create a time series collection which can have multiple time series in it. And the idea is with the MACD we want to have 3 time series, whereas with a single data point we're only going to have 1 time series. But however, we don't know how many time series we are going to have. So what we're going to do is we're just going to provide, so here's my idea. We're going to start out with our collection. Here's our collection. And up here we're going to set a class variable private int number of time series equals 5. So that means that this graph will be able to plot 5 lines. So here where we set up the renderer, we need to give those lines some colors. And so this way the chart's still in control, which I don't like it to be this way, but because this program's not going to focus on charts, it's going to focus more on trading. We are going to just hard code these in. So green, I don't know, yellow, be reverse rainbow, I guess, orange. So black, blue, I guess we could do purple. Magenta, there it is, magenta, blue, green, and yellow. So those are going to be our 5 lines. Now, maybe they won't all get used, but maybe they will. It just depends. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say for int I is equal 0, while I is less than our number of time series I plus plus. And so here we're going to create an array. So we can say time series array series equals new time series of number of time series. And as we go through each one of these, we're going to say series sub I is equal to a new time series plus I. So that way each series will have its own name and number. Now you're probably thinking, well, how does this work when it comes to these points? Well, here is my idea. So we've created our series. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to loop through our data points, and each point dot update, and we're going to pass it the series. And all this stuff is going to go away. But we got to create this at our data point level. So what this does is it requires, we need to create this as an abstract class. And this is going to be an abstract method. So that way, the two classes that extend it will have to update the time series somehow. So this can go away. We'll need this line though. But this way, the let's see, series sub I and collection dot add series sub I. So this way we can have at least up to 5, and if sometime later we want to change the number, we can bump this up. This really needs to be dynamic, but for now we're going to go with this because I don't have a better option. So in our single data point class, we've got to add these unimplemented methods, and inside of here we're basically going to say series sub 0 add that, and we don't have to oh, I think my timestamp method is, I need to make sure in here that this is protected. So instead of point.getTimestamp, we're going to simply say timestamp coming from the parent class. And here we can simply pass in the point. So for the single data point, it's pretty simple. Now we've got to take the same method and put it in our multi-data point. So add. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to make the assumption that for each one of our points, there's going to be a series coming in to handle it. So for int I said I equals 0, I is less than points dot length, I plus plus. And so for series I, What's going on here? I double copied it in. Let's try that. All right. So we'll loop through each series, and for each series, we're going to grab points of I for that timestamp. I think this should work. Now again, the market is not open yet, so we'll have to test this in the next video. But for now, let's see what's our error message out here. I think we changed the name of this back to just update data points. And what does it take? I think it just takes a linked list of data points. That's what this should be. What's it complaining about? The method is not applicable for arguments. Let's change this to be that. Cannot convert from to. We should be able to, because it's the parent class of those two. Let's see. About n extends. No. It doesn't like that. About that. It liked that. Let me change this method. Yes. There we go. Linked list. Something that there we go. I think that'll do it. Good old reflection to our rescue. All right, well, this video has gone way too long, and we will test this out in our next video. And in the next video, we should be able to do something like either this or this. Let's see. Yep. So next video, we will try this and see how it works. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is the Java Programmer.